If you're just seeing the news now, Philadelphia DA sues Elon Musk PAC, so that's a political action committee, to stop the $1 million lottery for voters. And I laugh, and because this stuff is just so ridiculous. The things that are going on. My opinion when I first heard about this stuff, I was like, "Is that illegal?" And I think that was pretty much everyone's reaction. That's my first reaction to my wife: "Is this even legal?" I mean, and this whole thing is a circus, but that's just kind of what we got going on here. But there is a lawsuit now, and there's Mr. Musk there. It says the Philadelphia District Attorney's office, this is from Philly, filed a lawsuit seeking to stop a political action committee controlled by billionaire Elon Musk from awarding $1 million to registered voters in swing states. And thank you, Dexter, for the super chat. I appreciate that. You're awesome. And hopefully this stuff is interesting for you. And I like to hear back from people on this stuff. So it says the lawsuit by DA Larry Krasner comes days after the U.S. Department of Justice warned Musk America PAC that its 1 million sweepstakes might violate election law. So yeah, that was a thing that was a couple days ago. If you guys have been following the story, the Department of Justice actually contacted Musk and was like, cut it out, man. Stop doing that. And he actually did. So it was interesting because Musk was actually silent on the lottery stuff. I didn't see any tweets about it. And I actually thought they were gonna stop the $1 million lottery. But then he started it up again, right? And so this is the first lawsuit from the DA. If I remember correctly, I think it's the governor of Pennsylvania was also made statements saying it was like, I don't know if the exact quote is, probably it was disturbing or something like that. He didn't say illegal, but he kind of alluded to something of that nature. And the other thing was too is like I've seen many articles on this subject of the lottery, from legal experts, because I don't pretend to be a lawyer, but I can certainly read what lawyers say. And plus, it's just as a just regular citizen, it doesn't pass the smell test. This whole thing, and that's why no one does this stuff, right? That run a $1 million lottery, and the real sticking point was only to registered voters, because actually, which is kind of crazy, in the USA, I guess you actually could run a lottery. It would be legal, but you'd have to open it up to everyone. And this also deals with sweepstakes laws, which vary by state. And there's a whole bunch of issues with this. Basically, most people don't touch this stuff. But Musk is in a whole other world. He's pushing the boundaries. Musk is backing, Donald Trump. We know that. So let's see some more details of this stuff. And now let me refresh, because this is actually an updating story. So we'll see if we get the latest. Make sure we have the latest. All right. So what it says here. Philadelphia District Attorney's Office on Monday filed a lawsuit seeking to stop Elon Musk and his political committee from awarding a $1 million to registered voters in swing states, accusing them of, quote, running an illegal lottery. So that's what we're calling this thing, running an illegal lottery. Let's see what else here. The lawsuit by DA Larry Krasner, which accuses Musk and his America Super PAC of trying to influence voters in the president's election, comes days after the U.S. Department of Justice warned the America PAC that its 1 million daily sweepstakes might violate federal law. So that's kind of a gray area that they're saying might violate it. So, obviously this is just sort of how our system works is someone accuses you of something, right? You have a right to defend yourself. So, like I said, I've read what legal experts said. I would think it's probably bad news for Musk to try this stuff. Also says here, Krasner's lawsuit in Philadelphia County Court, so against in Philadelphia, of common pleas names both both the Tesla CEO and America PAC as, not Tesla itself, but the Tesla CEO and America PAC as defendants. I see. So there's two defendants here. The Tesla CEO, Musk, right? So Elon Musk and his PAC. That's interesting. Musk is backing Republican nominee Donald Trump in the presidential election against Democrat Kamala Harris. Let's see here. CNBC has requested a comment from Musk. Good luck with that. I'm sure Musk will make some sort of, and I will check if there's any statement on Musk on his platform here. Let me see if Musk has said anything. Again, this is just coming out now. DL saying the lotteries have been around forever, both government and private, legal or no. Yeah, so lottery, I mean, lottery is the idea of a lottery or raffle has been around for a long time, but generally speaking, we don't do these kind of things with elections. That's why no one does it, right? It just doesn't really pass the smells test. Yeah, so Holy's bring up a good point here. Holy Jolika says Starbucks and Ben and Jerry's tried to give out free samples for voters, and that was found to be legal just to give out free samples. So yeah, so the Starbucks and Ben and Jerry stuff. So this is my understanding of those cases. Was basically, I think it was something like you wear a voting sticker, we'll give you a free ice cream. I think that was the general gist of it. And so what they had to do was to sort of get around that. They just gave free ice cream to everybody on election day, regardless of if you're a registered voter or not, or if you voted or not, right? You just gave out free ice cream on that day to everybody. So the sticking point with the Musk situation is whether or not you are just giving it to the registered voters, and then there would be the implication because it's so close to the election and the way you're doing it, is it implied that you're inducing or giving something of value to people who are going to vote a certain kind of way, and then you want to get them to register to vote. So like I said, generally speaking, I don't think it passes the smell test, but he'll have a right to defend himself. And the DOJ warned him on these things, and then he kind of paused it and then went ahead with it. So his lawyers must have advised him. This is my feeling on probably what happened. So you have to ask the Musk camp. My general feeling on probably what happened is that he took the advice of his lawyers, and they said maybe it's probably illegal. You're just going to pay a fine, or spend a day in jail or whatever. Like the penalty for what Musk is doing is probably not that stiff, which sounds crazy as it sounds, but the guy's got a bunch of money, so he's thinking, okay, I'll pay whatever fine and I'll just keep doing it. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going on here. Now BD is saying Elon thinks he can do whatever he wants without consequences. So I disagree. Well, I mean, you could paint that in two ways, right? So either one, Musk doesn't think there will be consequences, or two, I think the consequences are going to be too soft. So that's my opinion on that, of why he continues to do that. But this is part of what happens in the markets, right? Be it be in Wall Street, etc. So like, for example, if a bank is like, hey, we're going to just do insider trading, or we're going to communicate with each other via self-destructing things. This is how can I say, like, just part of doing business. Dexter says, I was a big fan, but he's just outside for himself. He's just out for himself. Sad. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Dexter. So I actually don't talk about it all the time on the channel, but I'm a huge fan of space science. Seriously, I don't for sometimes people they act like I don't like science, or I don't like technology, that kind of stuff. I actually really like this stuff. So for me, when Musk went to my school, so I was like, hey, it's cool. This guy wants to go to Mars and stuff like that. This was early on. Whether or not it's possible, that's a whole other issue. But if someone wants to spend a bunch of money, their money, not necessarily my money, but their money, and develop technology, space travel, this kind of stuff, or build electric cars that maybe have better emissions, like this kind of stuff. It wasn't that it wasn't absurd to me. I thought, okay, cool, go for it. But as the sort of thing went on, and you find out that Musk is how can I say, full of hot air, is that a good way to say it? You sort of realize what's going on here. He's not really that interested in climate change, or he's not really going to go to Mars, right? It's kind of a sham. These kind of things, or he's just getting tons of money from the government and not giving the results that we need. And also too, thank you for support, BD. Really appreciate that. It helps keep the channel fueled. But this lottery thing, I think he said he was going to do it every day, give $1 million to someone, and then part of it. Now, this is something I want to bring up too, which is people haven't talked about enough. So this is my understanding of Musk's lottery thing: is to win, you got to be a registered voter, right? And then the other thing, because some people say, well, shouldn't just Kamala Harris voters sign up for this thing and take the money and run away or whatever. If you win, you have to agree to appear in advertisements basically for Musk and Trump and stuff, and say how much you love that side. So so generally speaking, it's not worth selling your soul if you don't believe in those things, to take the money and promote something you don't believe in. So I wouldn't recommend that stuff. So that's something that people mention. Why don't you just take the money and vote another way? Because part of it is you have to be part of basically their political campaign. So what was interesting about this is that theoretically, I think Musk could have done a thing of like, hey, we'll pay $1 million to be our spokesperson, but they didn't frame it in that way. The way the stuff is framed again is sort of like encouraging people to register the vote. That's sort of how I read it. But we're gonna find out. I mean, he's getting sued. Let me refresh this. This is breaking news. It's just literally just coming out now. That's why I'm chatting with you guys. I want to hear your thoughts on this stuff. And if you're just tuning in again, Elon Musk is getting sued. This is in the Philadelphia District Attorney's office on Monday. So it's like first thing Monday morning, they're coming in the office like, you know what, we got to put a stop to this thing. Both Musk and the America PAC, so that's his political action committee, are getting sued. So Tesla's not getting sued. Oh, and here's another quote here. It says America PAC and Elon Musk are running an illegal lottery in Philadelphia as well as throughout Pennsylvania. So, I don't know if like this kind of thing would vary by city, if like different cities or counties in Pennsylvania would have different rules, but I'm assuming just the state thing would be fine. But you never know on this stuff. That is a lottery, the suit says, and it is indisputably an unlawful lottery. So this is again coming from the Philadelphia DA. And Meow Mew says, great news on Monday. John asked the question, what about the people that won't get the money now? Can they sue him for signing the petition thinking they had a chance to win $1 million? That's actually kind of a funny question. I mean, I guess you can make the case false advertising, right? The other thing too, which is in these situations, if you took the money from like an illegal action, would you have to give back the money? I would think yes. I want to make this clear. I'm not a lawyer, and that's sort of why it's fun to have chat on this stuff. And even if I were a lawyer, as you guys know, the way American legal law works is like it depends how good your lawyer is and what kind of argument that you make. But I'm thinking if you win something through, illegal means or illegal gains, then you're giving it back. That would be my guess here. I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on that. But let's see what else says here. And it's fun to go through this stuff. And this is being updated live. I don't see any statements from the Musk camp yet. Although I laugh, but this is the stuff that Musk tweets out, like that he's concerned about. They're tweeting out over there, breaking news: fertility rates in Britain are low. Like that's the kind of stuff that he reposts. It's like, oh, okay. That's what they're worrying about, fertility rates over there in Musk land. What else does this says here? Musk lottery also violates Pennsylvania consumer protection law. What's going on here? Musk lottery also violates Pennsylvania consumer protection law by, quote, deploying deceptive, vague, or misleading statements that create a likelihood of confusion or misunderstanding. Okay. So we're getting some more things in here. So first it's a legal lottery. Now it's under consumer protection. Interesting. Also says here, Krasman in a statement Monday said the Philadelphia District Attorney is charged with protecting the public from public nuisances, right, and unfair trade practices, including illegal lotteries. And guys, I'm trying to think in my lifetime, have I ever seen an illegal lottery situation? DLDL says here, Musk lawyers are being listened to at the moment. No comment. Yeah, this is breaking news like right now. That's why we're going over it. Yeah, we're at the kind of the no comment. People are still getting into this stuff, but that's why we're like reading through right now. But I'm gonna do a quick Google search, guys. A legal lottery. Have we ever had this in the USA before? A legal lottery. Let's see. A legal lottery. If I type that in, let's see what comes up here. Oh, okay. We got the Mr. Beast thing. That was like a couple months ago. That was if you guys don't know the Mr. Beast situation, I think the gist was some of the stuff that he would do would be like he would say he's have a lottery, but then only certain people were eligible or they were only picking certain people, so that was kind of misrepresented. I don't know the details of the Mr. Beast one. I would say that would be an example though of a fraudulent thing of like if you say you have X chance of winning, but the chances of winning weren't true, so that was misrepresented. So I'll give you an example. Actually, I'll give you an example of what could be going on with the Musk thing, but I don't know the details. I'm not inside the Musk campaign, but let's say, for example, in the first couple of winners, because a lot of people point this out. So if you guys don't know, when when people first won, it didn't really feel like the people were that excited. If you guys know what I'm talking about, like they just weren't that excited. Not like excited like you would be when if you won $1 million. Surprisingly, it didn't feel that real. Because I mean, let's be honest, guys. If you won $1 million, you'd be pretty happy. You'd be jumping up and down, and you'd be happy. Who wouldn't be? And the people that won the first couple of times, and I haven't seen all of them because I don't watch every single one times that someone wins, but it it seemed questionable. So I had wondered that myself. And then as it turned out, you also again have to be part of the campaign essentially and do a commercial for them that say how much you love Musk and Trump and stuff like that. What else we got here? And I'm just looking to see if there's any RJ saying Musk is a lunatic. Let's go through this some more. It's fun and actually I'll refresh this. This is literally getting updated live as we speak. All right, what else we got here? The suit notes that at an October 19th campaign rally, Musk announced if a registered voter turned over personal identifying information, address, cell phone, and email address, and a signed petition pledging to support for the Constitution, they would be eligible to be selected randomly for a 1 million prize. So this has been going on about 10 days now, roughly 10 days. Yeah. And it also says here, in other words, America PAC and Musk, this is a quote. In other words, America PAC and Musk are lulling Philadelphia citizens and others in the Commonwealth and other swing states in the upcoming election to give up their personal identifying information and make a political pledge in exchange for the chance to win $1 million. So this is according to the lawsuit here. That is a lottery, and it is indisputably an unlawful lottery. So that's the statement. I'll read it again. In other words, America PAC and Musk are lulling Philadelphia citizens and others in the Commonwealth and other swing states in the upcoming election to give up their personal identifying information and make a political pledge in exchange for the chance to win 1 million. I laugh because it's like, no one does this. That doesn't pass the smell test. That's why no one's ever done this before. But to be fair, this is how American law works. You try something, it goes through the courts. It's either struck down or withheld, and then where our laws are done on precedent. So then we know going forward, should I do $1 million lotteries for political pledges, and then they'll have to define is this really a political pledge or not? I mean, that's what how our legal system works. Yeah, to give up personal identifying information and make a political pledge in exchange for the chance to win $1 million. This is something that Sean says. So Sean says, it seems to fall in line with other shady dealings. It has gotten to the point to where anything that hints at criminal intent, there is Mr. Tweet himself. Yes, but I mean, it's I always go back to the and I actually did take some. I actually considered going to law school. I ended up going to graduate school instead of law school, but I did consider it, and I did take a few law classes. So this stuff always interests me. But I was gonna say that I always go back to the we'll call it the adult content laws, and when the judge says, you'll know it when you see it. So if you guys know what I'm talking about, and it refers to adult stuff. You'll know it when you see it. So it's kind of, I feel like this one is the with the political lottery thing. Is it legal or not legal? It's like you kind of know when you see it. That's why no one does this stuff. And let's see what else this stuff says here. The suit says that under Pennsylvania law, all lotteries in that state must be regulated by the state. Okay, they're gonna get him. I think they're gonna get him. I think they're gonna get him in Pennsylvania. Now to be fair, this isn't all swing. This is in all the swing states. Was there 7 of them? So every state may have a different law, right? I can't speak for every different state. Every state in the swing states might have a different, party who controls the. Sadly, guys, this is just how it is. Sadly, in the USA, the law sometimes involves politics, right? So sometimes they decide to enforce the law, sometimes they decide not to. For those of you guys, have lived long enough, you'll know about this stuff. So, but at least according to the DA in Philadelphia, and that makes sense to me. I grew up in Oregon. We had the Oregon lottery, so that's basically state sponsored lottery. They say it goes to fund schools. I mean, who knows? I always wonder that stuff. Yeah, I think from what I've read so far, okay, from what I've read about this $1 million lottery from legal experts, when it first came out, I felt illegal. It looked like illegal. Everyone's saying illegal. Now I'm reading the DA's, suit here. They're mentioning, various things, consumer protection, et cetera. And now we're talking about, Pennsylvania state law saying that lottery's got to be regulated by the state. I'm thinking that there's no way that Musk wins. But to be fair to Musk, he does find his way to get on the winning side of lawsuits occasionally. So, we'll see. What's going on here? Pursue the Dream says, will Musk also need to prove that the lottery was random? I doubt it was. Yeah, I see. That's what I mentioned that from the beginning. I think for the first couple of winners, it didn't feel random to me. But who knows, right? Who knows? Because the problem is they never show like any drawing balls out of the hat or anything like that. They're just like, hey, we got a winner, and the person wasn't really that excited. So, but this one right here, I think that lotteries in Pennsylvania have to be regulated by the state. I think that's going to get him. What else did it say here? Musk Lottery also, another thing. Musk Lottery also violates Pennsylvania consumer protection law by, we already read this, but we'll read it again, doesn't matter. Protection law by deploying deceptive, vague, or misleading statements that create a likelihood of confusion or misunderstanding. One of the things that is interesting about Musk, and it's very noticeable on his, social media, and also ridiculous because he's the CEO of a social media company, is he always this makes jokes all the time. And what I mean by jokes, like jokes that other CEOs don't make. Like, for example, don't make jokes about buying and selling companies. Like, don't do that. Like it's frankly, it's you could call it stock manipulation, which the SEC has, right? So if you say, oh, ha ha ha, I'm gonna buy McDonald's so I can fix the ice cream cones. Like, if you're a CEO of a publicly traded company, just don't make those kind of statements. Don't because we also live in a world where Musk can say, ha ha ha, I love X crypto coin, right? And then suddenly it's like, oh my god, Musk loves X crypto coin, and we all start buying said coin. So that's why, generally speaking, people keep their mouth shut on certain things, right? You just keep your mouth shut. And also, generally speaking, if you're a person of we'll say Musk influence, you have a lawyer look at all of this stuff on social media. I know it's not fun, you have to watch what you say, but that's part of being responsible when you're in these kinds of positions, when like you have millions of followers and you make these kinds of statements. And sometimes the Musk camp always say, well, Chris, you're just not funny, haha, don't you have a sense of humor? There's certain things that you just don't say. A simple example, you're president of the United States, and we had this problem with, and essentially what's crazy about this whole situation where you have essentially with the Musk Trump, I guess, alliance, you want to call it, is you have internet troll number one, befriends internet troll number two. And I'll let you decide who is internet troll number one and who is internet troll number two. I think they always vie back and forth. And they just tweet out whatever they want at all hours of the day. And this is something actually, talking with you guys about this stuff. taught at university for several years, and early on in my teaching career, the university actually required us to teach internet literacy, right? And back then, that was kind of a strange thing because we had I when I was a student, be it elementary, high school, college, etc. We weren't really taught this concept of internet literacy, like how to behave on the internet. This wasn't and just wasn't something we were taught because it didn't exist. Um, not that etiquette didn't exist, but just this idea. So and back then, when I was teaching this stuff for the first time, it was basically how to sort out true information from basically fake information. So that was what we were focused on. So actually when I was teaching this stuff at the first, we didn't actually talk about like, hey, don't tweet out nonsense basically, or don't tweet out things that could incriminate your companies for any number of things, or don't tweet out things that aren't true, right? So like today in today's education, or be it primary education, high school, or be it just general business etiquette, if you want to be successful in today's world, there's certain things you don't tweet, right? It's and I know from the Musk camp, oh, it's about freedom of speech, but it's like I said, don't tweet out stuff about buying and selling companies as a joke. It's the same way, like you don't tweet out, like, for example, it says, hey, I have a whole bunch of X stock, you should all buy it, and it turns out it's all lies, right? There's certain things you don't say. There's certain consequences. So I'm just mentioning this stuff because I've noticed Musk in the last couple of days. He's been doing his political rallies, and he says a lot of things that are untrue, but that's the kind of world that we're living right now. It's a sad world, and people sort of have this belief. Well, if I like someone, I just go whatever they say, even if it's not true or not, because it doesn't matter. I like the person, but I think this lottery thing, I think he's in trouble. The big one right here is that the lottery's got to be regulated by the state, so I think they're going to get him. Now I will mention before though with this stuff, and go back to the picture of Musk. I think probably what his lawyers advised him is that the penalty, whatever they assign, is going to be so light that just go ahead and do the lottery. And sadly, that's how our system works, right? It's the cost of doing business. So let's get some comments. What are people saying here? What's someone say? Grumpy Cat says, look up 52 U.S. Code 10307, false information in registering or voting penalties. It prohibits paying someone for registering. Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a thing. Sebastian says, people just go with the flow with Musk behavior because it's been going on for so long. And it's been normalizing now. Yeah, that it's sadly this kind of stuff is part of the world that we live in, which is like I said, is sad. Let's keep going through this stuff, but I hope you guys understand, why we have to talk about these kind of things, where watch what you do, watch what you say, and I mean that in a responsible way. Let's see. Okay, where were we? Okay. Krasner in a statement said the Philadelphia District Attorney is charged with protecting the public from public nuisances and unfair trade practices, including illegal lotteries. The DA is also charged with protecting the public from interference with the integrity of our elections. Earlier this year, America PAC was briefly investigated by the North Carolina Attorney General and Michigan Secretary of State after CNBC revealed that it was collecting personal contact information of swing state voters under false pretense of helping them register to vote. Yes, that's actually true. So I'll explain this. When Musk first started his political action committee thing, and I actually made a video on this, I'll just tell you about it if you don't know. They basically set up this website, and they actually paid a bunch of ads. I think it was all over Google Ads and all over Threads to promote their website. And when you go to the website, it looked like it was going to help you to register to vote. That's what the website looked like. So it gave the appearance that you're going to register to vote. So you put your address in and your name, etc. And then depending on which state you live, when you hit the enter button, it would give you a different result. Okay. So if you did not live in a swing state, the link, after you push the button, would send you to your state election office, right, and register to vote. If you did not live in a swing state, if you lived in a swing state, it would send you more to like a Trump page kind of thing. And so it was really, really different. And kind of the impression that I got when I looked at the website, it was like, okay, they're gonna canvass your house, send someone to your house, and try to get you to vote for Trump or something like that. Like it was really, really misleading. And again, it depending on which state that you were in. And so that was what's going on with that site. And so then North Carolina and Michigan, right? So we'll say North Carolina Attorney General, went after that, and then the Michigan Secretary of State went after that, and then they changed their website over at Musk's Political Action Committee, and then now they're doing the lottery thing. So this is actually the second thing that Musk has done regarding his PAC that is pretty shady. And there's no other way to put it. And I guess Apple's got something going on there, but but I mean, the thing is, let's be honest, and this is something that I think we don't have enough of, and just being honest about discussions, regardless of if it's on your side or not on your side. This is something that I've always admired about people who are legal scholars or things like that, and just giving honest legal opinion, regardless of which party that they're in or whatever. And that's and I'm sure you guys all have your favorite legal analyst, that kind of thing, where they just tell you this is the law, that's what it is, and they'll mention the different arguments on each side. So I said I think the argument for Musk's camp will be probably he'll go with whatever, it's my freedom of speech or my freedom to spend my money any way I like. His lawyers probably advised him that just pay the fine and keep doing what you're doing. And that may be the way they go, but at least from what I've seen so far, I think the big sticking point there is that lotteries in Pennsylvania should be regulated. Now, there's going to be other states that may make decisions on that. Let me name off the swing states, and if you guys are in these swing states, let me know. What do you think? Okay, so hold on. What are the swing states? There's 7 swing states. 7 swing states. I can name them off, but I'm just gonna Google to make sure I don't miss any. Let's see. What are the swing states? So I think it's like I know. Oh yeah. So it's Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. So looking at the list for myself here. Actually, you know what? Now I'm thinking about it. Nevada would have the loosest laws for this kind of stuff. So maybe no one comes after them from Nevada. Maybe Arizona is more friendly to Musk, so they probably wouldn't. So Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Michigan may actually. You know what? You may get Wisconsin and Georgia too for this lottery stuff. So I think theoretically 5 out of the 7 states maybe go after Musk for his lottery after Pennsylvania's announcing today. That's sort of just my guess. But we'll see. This is just Monday. Because the DOJ warned him a couple days ago, don't do it. It was high. Did I not mention Ohio? No. Ohio's not mentioned on the swing state here, at least the list that I'm looking at. I don't think Ohio's in play. I could be wrong though. But you never know, election night. And also just to remind you guys, election is next week, and I'll be live streaming the whole thing. It's gonna be wild. I can't tell you. Someone asked about the DOJ. Greg says, "Why isn't the DOJ intervening to stop Musk?" So here's the thing with the DOJ to answer that question. So this is my understanding of it. So my understanding of it first was that, generally speaking, something bad's going on. The DOJ will, I think it's something they'll give it like 60 days or something of that nature. They'll wait a bit to make sure they gather enough evidence and these kind of things, unless it's something like really, really pressing, and then they'll bring a suit or something. The other problem with the situation that we have, and this is just because of our political climate, is that any kind of move that the Department of Justice or any, we'll say, state DA or whatever, like in the situation, Philadelphia DA, if they bring any sort of charges against Musk will just say, "Oh, this is all politics," and from the Musk supporters or the Trump supporters, for them that's like a positive for them. It's like, "Oh, see, look at the big bad government's after us again. Look how bad they are," that kind of stuff. So for their supporters, that kind of, they see that as like a political positive. It's a crazy world that we live in. That's why I mentioned before, to where my opinion. I always respect people who are just, hey, this is the law, this is what it is, and this is different options. It's not necessarily partisan, and that's sort of how I try to treat information on this channel or give my opinions. And I always state very clearly, like, this is my opinion, this is how it could go, and I think that's a good way to think about things, be it with money, politics, etc. So, but there's a couple other things I want to go over with you guys also. There's someone who's a lawyer in immigration law. His name is Greg Siskin, or Siskine, I can say his name. But he was talking about Musk's immigration status. I just made a video about that. If you don't know, the basic gist of it is it looks like Elon Musk was working in the USA illegally, which is pretty ridiculous because Musk all the time, basically criticizes illegal workers in USA, right? Where when he and himself and his brother were doing the said thing. So let me read this for you guys. This is from a legal expert, Greg Siskine, who made a statement on this, on the Musk situation regarding his visa status when he was a student. It says here, I have co-authored the J1 Visa Guidebook. So J1 would be like a student visa, published by LexisNexis. So this guy literally wrote the book on the subject, which has been published in annual editions since the 1990s and is the main treatise of the subject. So I'm pretty familiar with the rules for J1 visa holders, including at the time Musk attended Stanford. The moment he dropped out and was no longer in good academic standing, he was out of J1 status, which means illegal, and unauthorized to work. If he successfully transitioned to an H1B status, it was because he either left the country and re-entered in that status, or he lied to the USCIS, then the the INS. Those would be like your, I can't remember what these acronyms stand for. I think one is Immigration and Naturalization Services, USCIS, I can't remember what this stands for. That stands for the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. So basically, immigration is what this stuff is. So because Musk would have either had to leave the country or you have to leave the country, right? Or you're lying to the immigration officials. Let me read some more of this. They didn't track J1 students at all that closely until 9/11 when they created the CVIS. So that's it's a way that we track student visas. I can't remember what it means, but it's just a student visa thing. So it was a lot. Well, actually, I can Google it. I don't think maybe it's more than just student visa. Let me just Google what CVIS means. Student and exchange visitor program. So it is students in exchange. So it could be like visiting scholars, that kind of stuff also. So it was a lot easier to get away with things. I have no idea if it was the former or the latter, but it didn't look like Elon is claiming he was still attending Stanford when he got the H-1B, and the emails published with the story certainly seem to show otherwise. Waterwoman, keep up the good work, Chris. So I appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Appreciate the help. And I just wanted to show you guys this stuff. So this is from a legal expert that's basically saying that Musk was definitely illegal. It was interesting because when you go through this stuff, and I'll read you a little bit more, I think theoretically Musk could be in real trouble here for a couple of reasons. I'll tell you the reasons. I'll read through this stuff, but I'll tell you the reasons basically. There's two main reasons. So, okay, first we have the lottery thing, which we just covered, but I also want to talk about the visa stuff. So it looks like that there is definitely lying going on regarding Musk and his visa stuff, because we have interviews with him and his brother, like in public, like they brag about being illegal immigrants, which is kind of ludicrous. But essentially, for anyone who's been had a visa in any country, and I can tell you, I've had to deal with this stuff myself. Generally, you have to leave the country and come back to change visa status. That's just how our system works. So Musk, finishes up at the University of Pennsylvania, and I went to school there too. And Musk is a foreign student, and I knew a lot of foreign students or international students, better way to say it, when I was there. So I know exactly how this stuff works. You have a limited amount of time to basically get a job and to be able to stay in the country. So you got to find a visa sponsor. Essentially, you got to find a visa sponsor, right? Because you're no longer a student. You're in the country because you're a student. If you want to stay in the country, you got to get a sponsor so you can stay, right? So you either got to get an employer to do that for you, or you just continue in school. So a Musk situation, and we know this from emails, he actually didn't really want to go to school. He just wanted to extend his visa so he could, do his companies or whatever. And got accepted to Stanford, and then I guess he called like the Stanford chair and said he wasn't going to come. That was whatever department that he was in, and didn't show up to class at all. So basically, right, he wasn't a student. Someone mentioned in these conversations too about this stuff, I guess, is that even if there was the case that you were a student, and the student visa says you can work, maybe it's only work for on campus, right? Also, if you're a student, you have to have, and this is what Suskin's saying here, 12 academic hours a semester. So for those of you who've been at university and were foreign students, you probably know these kind of things. For those of you who haven't heard this stuff, is I'm just telling you this is how a system works. Because again, you're on a student visa, you got to be in school. So the moment you leave school, you either need to exit the country, or you have to, or work out, go back to school, basically, right? And so what Musk was doing is then he was trying to start his companies, right? And trying to raise money and all this kind of stuff. And you're basically not in the country doing what you say you're supposed to be doing. Now, the other big sticking point is that when Musk did start his company, right, he hired his brother, and it is illegal. This is like a 1986 law to hire someone if you knowingly know that they don't have a working visa, right? Basically, they don't authorize to work. They're illegal. So there's three things going on. I mean, there's multiple things that you could get them on, but there's the lottery thing, which is looking to be illegal. There's the illegal working in America, which is something he tweets about all the time that he hates, and it only applies to dark people, and according to Musk, basically, or low people. Because to be fair, someone wrote in the comments, which is probably true for these kind of people, that people who are on the winning side, you could call it winning, and I mean in terms of like the controlling side of apartheid, right? And I don't mean winning in a positive way. I just mean if you're the ones in power on apartheid, you just think of anyone that in their lower classes as being beneath you, and you're just worker, etc. And another way to think about it as well, when you think about these kind of people, is for someone like a Musk and apartheid, they think of laws as being not necessarily something that is applied fairly to everyone, just as being like laws are there to keep them in power and to hold other people down, right? So laws are to punish the low people who try to hurt the high people. That kind of thinking. So it's interesting though when you go through this stuff, what's going on here. So hopefully that's clear, kind of what and I'll read more of his words here. It says Musk would have needed to be engaged in full course of study, at least 12 academic hours a semester, in order to qualify for work while being a J1 student. And Stanford would have had approved the work, right? That's another big one. So not only for Musk to, theoretically work, the school, right, your department would have had to agree that you can work, because you're supposed to be a student. And I actually know this too, just how this stuff works. You got to go and talk to your professor, and you got to say, why does this work relate to your course studies, etc., right? You can't just go off and play baseball or whatever. and not like, because oftentimes too at these places, they're funding you, right? Stanford probably would have offered, chances are, because I think it was supposed to be a PhD program, chances are he would have been getting funding from the school. So so someone's gonna know, and in fact, I mean, we already know from the Washington Post reportings that people around Musk already had concerns about this stuff. I think we have like 7 sources. It's not like just one person. And then people at Stanford are going to know. Now, whether or not Stanford had paperwork from years ago, probably not. And there's also a chance too, because Musk is the same age as myself. Well, actually, I take that back. I was going to say some of the professors may have passed away, but I think all of my professors are still alive. I think, yeah. I'm just thinking if I've had any pass away. They're all in their like 70s and 80s now. They're definitely older. So people are going to know the truth on this stuff. The problem is they're like, it's a political year, and then it's kind of, you don't really necessarily want to get involved with, being a whistleblower here. But some people may step forward in these things. Also says here, the Washington Post reporting is that he was not a student anymore, and he was working in his startup, right? And there's the book that the guy wrote. So this guy literally wrote the book on J1 visas, is saying what Musk is doing is illegal. So I tend to trust the guys who write the book on this stuff. Other people are saying here, And I am sure during his interview at the INS of immigration for his permanent residency card, the green card, the officer asked him if he worked before he had a work visa, and I am sure he lied, which is grounds for deportation. So it's actually quite interesting, this stuff. I was just kind of reading through these things. So, and then Musk made the statement, oh, it's not true, that kind of stuff. But, that's what Musk's going to say. So let's see here. Let me catch up with some of your comments. Yeah, John saying, thanks for exposing Musk as an illegal immigrant, and he hired one in his brother. Yes. So there's two issues. Musk was illegal, and then he made, well, then you could say three issues, because Musk is illegal. He hires an illegal, and then his brother's an illegal, right? So you got three things there, and then you also got the illegal lottery stuff. Someone's also saying DLDL averaging 70 tweets a day. Yeah, it's actually 71. That was according to, if you don't know, that was according to the I think that was Wall Street Journal counting up his tweets. What else you got here? Let's see. Random Commander says no law applies to rich people. Mr. Mostly Harmless says USA has turned into the Batman dystopia of Gotham City, where the Joker dropped money on Gotham residents in the famous parade scene. Yeah, it's kind of like that. If you don't know, Mostly Harmless is referring to the Michael Keaton, Tim Burton movie, Jack Nicklaus movie. I'm old. I'm 49. I remember these movies. I saw that movie in the theater twice, actually. But basically, is at the end of the movie, the Joker is dumping money over Gotham. Got these big balloons, and then he gasses everybody. So sadly, I don't know if we're going to that kind of world, because that actually didn't end up well for the citizens of Gotham. That didn't end up well at all. Adam says, and he's got a Batman avatar, ironically, he'll probably pay a small fine. When I came to the US to get married, I came on a visitor visa because it was going to be over a year to get my fiance visa. That was 1995. Yeah, so I mean, and also telling the truth on this stuff, our system is slow, messed up, however you want to say it. Stuff goes on all the time. So this situation here is you're coming to get married, right? The difference is, and say what Musk is doing is because you're hiring someone knowing to be illegal, and then also to you're starting a business, to raising a ton of money. Like the scale of what people are doing is clearly different. So there's that. Whether or not Musk would lose citizenship or be deported, I mean, who knows on that stuff. I can't comment. I'm not a lawyer, but I can point out kind of where the problems are. Let's see what other people say here. Oh, this is actually kind of a funny topic. What I was thinking about this, because Adam brought the point you had to pay a fine of $238 and $1995. I was thinking about if you charge like Musk with with hiring your brother illegally back in whatever 1996. If you you would get interest on the fine or something like that, but for us it still wouldn't be enough. Let's see here. I'm trying to catch up with your guys' comments. Let's see here. Are they going to port him like the other system cheats? All right. And if you're just catching up on the news, I'll go over it, you guys. I want to hear some thoughts on this stuff. So again, Philadelphia DA is suing Elon Musk. A political action committee will refresh this. Is literally getting updated as we speak. And the claim is this is an illegal lottery. The other quotes here, and I'll just read through the quotes here. America PAC and Elon Musk are running an illegal lottery in Philadelphia, as well as through Pennsylvania, the suit says. And then also says the other quotes. In other words, America PAC and Musk are lulling Philadelphia citizens and others in the Commonwealth and other swing states in the upcoming election to give up their personal information and make a political pledge, right? So this will be probably part of the suit to, lawyers will fight what that means, political pledge, in exchange for the chance to win $1 million. The other part of the suit, which I think will probably come up, will be is everyone eligible to win? This $1 million is only registered voters are eligible to win. How are the people picked or chosen, right? So, like as I mentioned when we first started talking about this, is the first winners, they just didn't seem that happy, to be honest with you. So, were they pre-selected or not? Who knows? You got to ask Musk on that stuff. Also, if you won the money, did Musk actually send the money to said people? That part I don't know. You have to ask those people's bank accounts. I don't know. The people who won the money, there were they had then in order to get the money, accept the money, you have to then become a campaign spokesperson for them. So theoretically, Musk could make the claim that we're just hiring people for $1 million. The problem though is that they've been saying it's a lottery and stuff like that. And then the other issue would be, are you sort of inducing and giving people, something of value, in this case, $1 million, to register to vote, right? So we'll look at that. The DA says from Philadelphia says that is a lottery and is indisputably unlawful lottery. And then this is the big one that I think is the key. The suit says that under Pennsylvania law, all lotteries in that state must be regulated by the state. So I think that's where they're going to get him, in my opinion. Musk lottery also violates Pennsylvania consumer protection law by employing deceptive, vague, or misleading statements that create a likelihood of confusion or misunderstanding. The other thing too I want to mention is the other states will probably sue. How many? There's 7 swing states. I'm guessing 5 out of 7 could bring suit. Who knows? And let me refresh this in late because it's updated. And then the other part of the statement is the Philadelphia District Attorney is charged with protecting the public from public nuisances and unfair trade practices, including illegal lotteries. And then the DA is also charged with protecting the public from interference with integrity of elections. So they could get him for a legal lottery. They could get him for, election interference too, I think. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Meow said, "What if Trump will not win?" That's a general reason why, as a business person, or you don't necessarily want to go all in on a particular candidate, because what if your side doesn't win? You still got to do business, right? One thing though is that if you actually read the Musk book, which I have, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to say it, but that's and I did a review on it. And if you guys want to find my review on the Musk book, you can take a look and check it out. But one of the things that said in the book was that Musk's strategy for playing poker was just going all in on every hand. So basically, Musk would go all in and lose, go all in and lose, go all in and lose, and eventually he'd go all in and finally win, and then he'd quit. But this kind of strategy is really luck based, so may not work out for Musk this time. Joint Specialist says election interference can mean jail time. Yeah, there's a possibility of that. Like I said, I think I think the big one will be his lawyers probably advise him, hey, spend a day in jail. Maybe people will love you more on your side, that kind of stuff, or pay the fine. This is the kind of climate that we're in. And I was thinking about this. If you guys know anything about sports history, there was Michael Jordan when he first came into the NBA, and at that time, I think the rules in the NBA, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you had to wear white sneakers. I think that was like a rule. And Jordan, the new Jordans, because they were the Air Jordans back then, I think they were black. And so he was actually fined by the league every single day he played, right? And it ended up being a brilliant marketing campaign for Nike, because then they could come in commercials and say, you can get the Air Jordan shoes. They're so cool. They're illegal, right? And so that actually was a boost for Nike and for Michael Jordan, because he wore illegal shoes in the league and just paid the fine. So from Musk's point of view, if the fine is too small, they'll just go ahead and do it, and that might actually boost him and his fans. Now I'm not condoning this stuff. I'm just telling you from that point of view. So but we'll see. Someone asked a question here. Hindenburg ever get on Tesla? Yeah, I don't know why they haven't. There's a lot of shady stuff going on over at Tesla. be it accounting shady stuff, or be it statements that Musk makes, that kind of stuff. So who knows? Anyway, and then yeah, Susan brings up the good point. Trump is promising a cabinet position for Elon. Yeah, so it seems like there should be laws against that stuff too, right? I laugh because it's like and I do want to make it very clear. I do take this stuff seriously. It's just I can't be angry every day of my waking life. So you have to roll with the punch of this stuff. But no, I mean, like, we have corruption on full display. Now, to be fair to Musk and Trump, sadly, this is just part of our system. If you want to be an American diplomat, often you give $1 million, sometimes $2 million, depends on which country you want to go to. But if you didn't know this, if you say you want to go to a desirable country, like some people really want to be the diplomat of France, donate $1 million to whatever presidential campaign, and you'll get promised a spot as an ambassador. You can be head out and take your family and go live in France. Why not? That's how that stuff is done. Whether or not someone has openly bought a cabinet level type position, or now in Musk's situation, I don't think. Well, I can't speak exactly what they're going to do, but they're calling it Department of Doge. I think they called it he'll head a commission or whatever. Whether or not they make a brand new cabinet position just for that, I can't speak to that. But to be so open about our corruption, but our corruption is obviously is part of the politics, and it's not just USA, it's everywhere around the world. The difference, though, usually corruption is more hidden, hidden in the sense that it'll come out in public records because we know where the money's going. You'll see it. Open secrets kind of website will show, oh, this person gives X money to this person. But the way they're doing it now, it's just so brazen. And I think the problem is the change in culture, right? What else are people saying here? Yeah, so Greg's saying when government abandons its duty to enforce the laws, no matter who gets prosecuted. Yes. So I've said several times in this channel, and you will not find many channels or people on TV or etc. that are frankly, how to say, impartial with the law. And I'll give you a simple example. Guys, Democratic side, was it Bob Menendez, Senate? He was charged with bribery stuff, and being an unregistered foreign agent, all these kind of things, basically corruption. He's senator on the Democratic side, and he had dealings. I think it was Egypt. Essentially, they're giving him a bunch of money, gold bars in the house. I said all along, if he's guilty, it looks like it. No problem. Prosecute the guy, get him out, get someone else who's not corrupt. No problem. Same with George Santos. He's on the Republican side, doing all sorts of crazy stuff that George Santos was doing. I mean, I think that guy was like wire fraud and lying about his background, all kinds of things. Hey, no problem. Same way with Mayor Adams. That's a Democrat in New York. I think he's got a whole bunch of campaign bribery, all that kind of stuff. Again, you break the law, you do the crime, you do the time. It doesn't matter to me which party. And I wish, I'm just being honest with you guys, I wish more people would be more justice is blind kind of thinking. That's the way I was raised. It doesn't matter which party you're in. If you do a crime, we come after you. I never defend the Hunter Biden stuff. If he has a gun, not supposed to. If you're not paying your taxes, not supposed to. He has to, pay whatever fines and do whatever thing. It's same way with the Trump stuff. If Trump is, doing things he's not supposed to, have documents he's not supposed to have, making claims about your real estate you're not supposed to do. If you're doing whatever crime, pay the time. So for me, it's not, enforcing the law is not an emotional thing. It's the law. So, and us as just regular citizens, we should just, want a system to where the law applies equally to both rich and poor. That should be the way that it works. So, when I look at this stuff, I think, any lawyer with what can you say, what's the word to say, with a real law degree or with a legal opinion with a grain of salt, for me, the key statement here is that if this is, and I think this is probably the case, if they're saying that lotteries in Pennsylvania need to be regulated by the state, I mean, that right there, it tells me I think he's going to be out of compliance. So they'll probably get Musk on that one. The election interference one will probably be a little bit tougher one, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see how I'll argue. And I'm looking forward to see if other states go after this lottery thing. I think this sets a really bad precedent because I hope you guys understand, and believe the way that I do, that our democracy should be about ideas, right? Who's got the best ideas, not who has the biggest bank account. And we don't talk about it enough in our elections. So if you don't know, I was a huge fan of Feingold. Was it Dodd Feingold? It was Fine. I'll Google the other one. If you guys don't know who Russ Feingold is, he started, and I actually met Russ Feingold. I was a big fan. Russ Feingold, his big issue was campaign finance. I thought it was a Dodd. No, I can't remember. It was a bipartisan thing. If you guys remember Russ Feingold, if you guys know who that is, and I can Google it. Here, I'll pull it up 1 second. Campaign, and it was a big issue, and I don't know. It just wasn't. It's just not an issue anymore in the USA. I don't know why. I can't tell you, what's going on with Americans' hearts. But when this was back in 2002, in my younger years, this is like a long time ago. This was like a big issue. Yeah, it was McCain Feingold. Okay, so it would have been John McCain, who I'm a big fan of as well. I like both these guys. There's John McCain there. There's Russ Feingold. So one thing I want to make clear: don't think everyone in politics is awful. Not everyone. Unfortunately, though, there's many people, but not everyone. So I was a big I was a big fan of this thing, because basically we got to get money out of politics. Like I was saying, I think it should be about ideas, not about money. And when you see these brazen things of these billionaires, just throwing around crazy amounts of money, and sadly, and I'll guys, if you follow my channel, for the many of you guys that are new to my channel, you may not know, I do a lot of business and finance stuff on the channel. So we talk about basically money, and basically, making sure that you're secure in the way that you spend money, the way you invest, and the way that you save money, these kind of things. But I never, and I always make it really clear, I never in the type of channel that's like, hey, you got to get the Lambos, and it's the only way to friendship, and people will like you because you got your Lambos. This overly worship of money is not a good thing, in my opinion. So I know that it flies counter to much of the stuff that you see on social media, where people basically say just worship money and worship people who have money, but I don't take that point of view. And this bleeds into kind of like why people like a Musk or like someone like Trump. In their mind, they think, oh, this person has money, and then therefore because they have money, they must, everything they say must be correct, because money is the only thing that matters, and people who have money must be more smart than people who don't have money. And it's not always the case. As I explained several times on the channel, it's your opinion of the stuff really changes when you actually meet these people. It really changes. And so if you don't know, Trump, Musk, and myself, we all went to the same school. So Musk and Trump went to the same school, and we're talking about Penn here, and I went there, and I met a lot of kids that were born rich. And now it doesn't mean everyone born rich is a bad person. Doesn't necessarily mean that, but when you're born rich, you have certain advantages, and one of the big advantages for some people, right? Not everyone, but for some people, is maybe you don't have to work quite as hard as the poor kid, and maybe you don't have to be quite as smart as the poor kid, and you can still be fairly successful because daddy and mommy, right, can open up doors that poor daddies and mommies can't open up. And when I was a kid, that was obvious. That was really obvious. I don't know. Today's society is really different than when I was a kid. Today, kids worship the Kardashians. Like what? Like who? Like that's really a generational thing. And I'm showing my old age here that I don't worship Kardashian. And for young kids, what do you mean, Chris? You don't worship Kardashian? What's wrong with you? It's a different way of thinking. It's just a different world. I don't worship Kardashians. So And so anyway, I know I'm going on tangents here, but I'm just showing you guys, if we want to fix the problems that we have, we got to get to the root of said problems. A lot of it is money in politics, so it's not really about ideas. And I know the election's up and coming in a week or so, so I'll probably talk a little bit more about politics, this coming week. And I hope you guys understand this. So some people, they're like, "Oh, Chris, I hate it when you talk about politics," but it's unavoidable. And the other thing is too, I try to talk about in ways that other channels don't talk about politics. So this is the main problem though, is there's too much money in politics. And and so the solutions would be, in this situation of the Musk situation, the issue is the political action committees. So what it is, if you don't understand this stuff, basically there are campaign finance limits. So me as an individual person, I think the limit is I can only give, I don't know, $3,000 to a campaign. It's not that much actually, right? It's something of that nature. So the way that people get around this law is essentially you set up a separate organization. So we call it a political action committee. So it's not the campaign. So it's not officially Trump. It's not officially Kamala Harris, right? And then I can just donate as much money as I want to this other organization, right? And here's the sticking point, and this is where a lot of campaigns break the law, but there's just we don't enforce it. Is the political action committee is not, and I'll repeat, is not supposed to coordinate with the campaign. Okay, they're supposed to be separate, entirely separate, right? But there's always instances where they work together, and so that would be another situation where you could get the Musk PAC and the Trump campaign doing something illegal if the PAC is directly coordinating with the campaign. And to be fair, there could be PACs on the Harris side that are coordinating with the Harris campaign, right? So like I said before, for me, this kind of stuff isn't about party. It's just about enforcing the law. I think that's the way our justice system should work. And if Harris, is out of compliance with any number of PACs, by all means, go after the same way of the Trump campaign. So that's the way our system should work. Yeah, and this is if you guys understand this stuff, this is a real serious issue. And it's Pat the Batman fan says super PACs are just an end around campaign finance law as a joke. Yeah, and this should be an important topic for many people. The problem is that if I want to, as a politician, base my campaign, and I'll go back to the Russ Feingold stuff. If I want to base my campaign on, hey, vote for me, campaign finance reform, who's going to give me money, right? It's hard to raise money, and you're in an arms race. One thing I will say, I have always admired candidates who say, hey, I'm running a campaign. I'm not going to take, big money donors. And, I'll limit my campaign contributions to $10 or whatever, something like that. And so then what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I just want to get more people to support my campaign. And it's about ideas. Be perfectly frank, guys, it takes money to run a campaign. Because sometimes people say, well, these politicians, they don't need money. Why do I give people money, etc. It takes money to hire staff people, right? You need staff on your campaign to help you write policy. You need staff on your campaign to organize volunteers. You need staff on your campaign to make good commercials. All these kinds of, it costs money to run a campaign, and it's a nationwide campaign. Now, and I know I'm talking about philosophical stuff here. Now, a couple of things that we could reform is one, we could actually make it so that you can only campaign for 1 month out of the year during the election cycle. That would change things dramatically. I live here in Korea. I think the campaign's like a month. I think the UK has similar laws. If you guys are in various countries around the world, I know other countries have this. So basically, you just make it so that it's illegal to do political advertising campaigns. You can't go out in the street and you say vote for me kind of stuff unless it's campaign season, which only lasts about a month. It changes everything because then you don't need as much money to run, right? It's a different system, and so you'll see this kind of stuff in various countries. So I can't speak to every country in the world that has that kind of system that shortens the campaign window. But it definitely changes the system. The other issue you can do is you can limit how much money can be spent on a campaign. Now the issue with America and the way that, say, Musk would make the argument is they argue that spending money is free speech, right? So from that point of view, then if money is speech, then if you limit how much money I can give to someone, you're limiting my speech, right? That depends if you believe money is speech, right? And you're getting a bunch of issues here. T. Lau says dollars is the root of most problems. You can make that argument, right? So here's retired old guy as making a statement here. He says here, the laws were not perfect before a conversation. Supreme Court changed the rules, but they kept money spent on campaigns reasonable. Yeah. So we certainly need to change the laws in this stuff. But this particular issue with the lottery thing, no one ever does it because it's like it just doesn't pass the smell test. But I think the lawsuit from Philadelphia, this will hopefully bring this back into conversation again. Hopefully, we get some politicians that got some guts that do this stuff. Meaning that try to bring this to issue again. If I were to run, this would be one of the top issues. And I talk about running in politics all the time. If you guys don't follow my channel, you won't know. But and it's not just a one-time thing. When I was in college, I used to talk about this stuff. So the issue for me, if you wonder why I haven't run, it's several issues, but it boils down to a couple. One is, I don't come from a rich family. I don't come from any family. I lost my family at the end of the Vietnam War, so things are much more difficult to get started in this stuff. And then two, I'm just be honest with you, I'm not white. If you're not white, it's very tough to get into politics in the USA. If you're on the Democratic side, they basically just look for black candidates. I'm just being honest with you guys. That's how it is. Now, hopefully it'll change going into the future to where, someone of any shade will have a chance. To be fair to Kamala Harris, right? She has a biracial, background, and more Americans have various, joint families. And also, I want to make it really clear whenever you have this conversation, very few people have real conversations on this stuff. Very few people do. Is that no one's 100% of anything, right? And again, no one has real conversations on that. So, like when we refer to Barack Obama, we call him black, but his mom was white and his dad was I can't remember which country was black, and then he was raised by white grandparents, so he had a multicultural upbringing, and he was raised in Hawaii, which is a very different state than other states, right? So it's no wonder to me why Barack Obama is relatable to multiple types of people, because he has lots of different types of people in his family. It's not like shocking, but we are in a situation in USA where there are some people who are uncomfortable with different groups of people, right? And they get really angry and they push back and they want to vote for people like Trump or Musk because they want a one group type of person. So that's sort of how it is. And it's funny, and this is a good example, right? So this is someone from Tennessee really calling me racist, right? Look at this. So this is and it's funny because like these kind of people, they've never heard these kind of conversations before, right? If someone says, "Hey, not everyone is 100% of anything," and then like, "Oh my God, what are you talking about?" I don't even know what this person's talking about. My granddaddy told me that white people be white and black people be black, right? Like I get this kind of like really simple-minded thinking, and you when you get out in the world, and I always say this before, and I've mentioned several times on the channel, get a passport, go see the world, visit other countries, right? Another one is learn different languages. This changes the way you see the world entirely. So anyway, just wanted to share some thoughts on this whole thing. I do appreciate everyone's time, and I'll catch you on the next video. So thanks for joining the live stream, and I'll catch you guys next time.